All right. Well, very good morning. We have a couple minutes for our official start time. How you doing out there? We'll just sit and be still for the next few moments, couple minutes before we officially start. Eight a.m. on the dot. Good morning. Tuesday morning. Welcome. My name is Eric. I'll be your guide, your yoga guide this morning. And it is an honor and pleasure to be a part of Comeback Yoga. Comeback Yoga is a nonprofit organization that serves veterans and their families up and down the Front Range of Colorado, from the eastern plains of Colorado to the western slopes and everything in between. We sure would love to have your support, either by coming into class in person, online like we are here, and then also if you have any resources that you'd like to donate. These folks are working so hard to help so many. The more the merrier, and keep moving in the right direction, pulling all in the same direction together, helping veterans and their families. All right, well, without further ado, we'll begin our practice. And here over the next 25 minutes, we're going to set a practice for you to bring into the day. Okay, so we're going to be emphasizing the upper body, releasing the upper body. And then we also have a theme, and we want to look at choice. We want to look at boundaries and your own inner resolve, resilience, and the ability to stay within yourself and make a choice. So this practice allows for that to happen. All right. So there's several different areas of the practice that will emphasize to help foster this idea of being able to stay within your own boundaries, create your own choice, and you basically build resilience. That's really what happens with resilience within yourself. Nothing outside of yourself. Everything is within yourself. So the practice is designed for you to look within yourself, see within yourself, And then have this understanding that your resilience, your resolve, your choices come from within inside of you. All right. Let's begin with the breath. If you've been joining this particular class over time, I say it over and over again because it's so important. But we start with the breath, pranayama. All right. There's two breath cycles that I'd like to remind you of that I'll be cueing. The main breath, if you don't hear me cue anything, the main breath is to breathe in through the nostril and out through the nostril. With each breath a little smoother, so smooth on the inhale and smooth on the exhale with no pausing in the breath cycle. So this does a bunch of things, but basically it drops your heart rate, allows the heart rate to relax, and thus allowing the fight-flight brain to relax, and then have that blood flow move into the prefrontal lobe neocortex. This activation of the brain, the neocortex and the prefrontal lobe, this is where we find choice. This is where we find resolve. This is where we find resilience. This is where we find autonomy. All right, your ability to have your own boundaries and be able to stand within yourself with healthy boundaries. So let's go ahead and work on this. Let's go ahead and draw your shoulders up, back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck, broaden through the collarbone. And notice how your posture, okay, allows for the head to just naturally sit on top of on top of your center of gravity. And you may notice that the body is lighter. So lengthening through the back of the neck, drawing your shoulders back and down, broadening through the collarbone, let the head just naturally come into the center of gravity. This is important. This is an important start because your nervous system is like an antenna. It's like a two-way antenna, receiving and putting out. And when your posture is proper, your nervous system, your spinal cord is able to be attentive and relaxed. That's what we're looking for, attentive, relaxed. We're also going to stimulate alpha brainwave state that also allows for this attentiveness, but relaxation piece. So let's go ahead and lengthen through the back of the neck, and then we'll start with the neck, all right? And watch my cue. I'm going to be in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. That's the second breath I'll be cueing, okay? So look over to your left shoulder and breathe in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. Breathing in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. And then looking over your right shoulder. Breathing in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. In through the nostril and out through pursed lips. And then back to center. And we'll work on some head movement, opening up the neck, loosening up the neck. And from here, we want to look over the left shoulder and then drop the chin, and you'll be looking over the right shoulder. And then drop the chin again, looking over the left shoulder. And then looking up. You want to look straight up, and then coming up and over to the other side. And then looking straight up again, coming up and over to the other side. And then back to center. And then just be still for a moment and notice any pleasant sensations. Throughout the practice, I want to encourage pleasant sensations. If there's an unpleasant sensation, that's okay. But looking for any opportunity for the body to relax. find some ease. We're going from tight to light, or you may notice a big organic breath, sigh, yawn, and then any opportunities for the mind to be still, where you notice that you are just present here, now, content. Everything's okay. All right. And then let's go ahead and start working on the shoulder girdle. So let's find our goalposts and then breath in through the nostril, smooth and big. And then on the exhale, you're going to invert that goalpost with your arms. And then on the inhale, bring it back up. And then on the exhale, invert. Breath in on the inhale. And then on the exhale, inverting. And breath on the inhale. And then on the exhale. Breath on the inhale. And then on the exhale, invert. And we'll do one more. Breath on the inhale. And then on the exhale. And then shake it out. And you do want to give a little natural shake, allowing that fascial system to relax, and then just be still for a moment. And see what you notice, any pleasant sensations, any sense of ease, relaxation, space, organic breaths. And then let's go ahead and come back into our goalpost. And on the inhale, you're going to open way wide, open on the inhale, like you're squeezing a pencil in between your shoulder blades. And then on the exhale, you want to reach all the way forward and allow those elbows to come forward and touch. And then back into the inhale. Inhale, opening up. And then no pausing in the breath cycle. Each breath a little smoother and a little longer. No pausing in the breath cycle. And you want a full range of motion, full contraction, and then full expansion, opening up. We were working on the shoulder girdles. And then on the inhale. And then on the exhale. Inhale. Each breath a little smoother and a little longer. And we'll finish up here. Coming back into contraction. And then shake it out. Shake out the arms. And then just be still for a moment and notice what you notice. What do you notice? Any pleasant sensations come up? I just took a big organic breath. I feel an easiness in the shoulders and the arms. What do you feel? What do you notice? What might you notice? All right, and then we'll stretch the neck here. So go ahead and take your hand and bring it on the opposite side of the neck, and then you want to press into those fingertips for 7 seconds at 10% effort. And we're already halfway through a 7-second session or session of 3, and then release, and then relax, and then bring your hand over the top on the other side, and then pressing into the fingers. 10% effort is all you need to release that fascia, and we're going to relax. That's session number 2. And then the third, number 3, pressing into the fingertips at about 10% effort. And then relax. And then just offer yourself a little organic movement. And then let's do the other side. Bring your hand over the opposite side of the head. And then pressing. For 7 seconds, 3 times. And then release. And then pressing into the fingertips. And then releasing. And then pressing into the fingertips. and then release. And then just any organic movement that you can find. All right, and then let's open up the side bodies, hands behind your head. And you can give yourself a little left and a little right, back and forth. No pausing in the breath cycle. This is going to calm down that heart rate. All right. And then come back into center. And then I'll be your guide. And then we'll go up and over to your right. You're lifting up through the left side body now. Now, intentionally breathing in through the nostril and out through the nostril. When you concentrate and breathe in this manner in which I'm cueing, you're building your choice muscles. You're creating an intention and then allowing your attention to follow your intention. So breathing in this manner, each and every breath is building your resolve, your resilience, your autonomy, your choice-making skills. Let me come on back up. Because you're building your prefrontal lobe when you do it intentionally. So coming up to the center and then intentionally go up and over the other way now. Now you're lifting up to the other side body. It might be your right side body if you're following me as a mirror. Every time you take in that breath in through the nostril on purpose, intentionally, and then each breath a little smoother and a little longer, you're building oxygen reserves in the nervous system. You're replenishing the nervous system with oxygen and allowing that blood flow to move into the prefrontal lobe. And then come on back up. And then just shake it out. And then just be still for a moment. You go from action to inaction. From a stretch or a pose into stillness. You want both. What do you notice? Any pleasant sensations? Okay, the next is let's do some cat-cows, seated cat-cows. Seated cat-cows. Okay, so on the inhale, you're pressing it's like a back bend. You're pressing the sternum forward and you're looking up and the head drops back and broadening through the collarbone. That's the inhale. And then on the exhale, tucking the chin and pressing the spine backwards. And then back on the inhale. And then back into the exhale. And back and forth. And back and forth. Back and forth. No pausing in the breath cycle. Everything we do is working from the spine out. All right. And then come back in the center. And then I'll come to face you again. Let's find a twist. Super important, these twists. So, lengthen through the back of the neck, broaden through the collarbone, shoulders backing down. And take your right hand, put it on your left hip, and then your left hand to support it is supporting at the tailbone. You want to lift up and over. On the inhale, lifting up to the crown of the head, and then on the exhale, twisting over to the left and breathing. No pausing in the breath cycle. And then come on back over. And then opposite hand on the opposite knee, whichever way. If you're a mirror, that's okay. Whatever works for you. And then your hand at your tailbone supporting the twist as you come up and over. On the inhale, you're lifting through the top of your head. And on the exhale, twisting over to the right. And breathing. No pausing in the breath cycle. You don't want to force anything, but all pleasant sensations. and then come back into center. And then the next exercise or next pose is a wide-legged squat. It's also a lower body, but it allows for the structure of the pelvic girdle to reorganize and the hips to start to open up and taking pressure off the spine and bringing allowing gravity to create a little space in the invertebrate. So let's go ahead and find a wide-legged squat. Take a wide-legged, feet are out, and then dropping the tailbone. Now here you can use your blocks to support you. All right, but you do want to find a comfortable position where you are in the sweet spot. Now in the sweet spot, you'll hear me say find the sweet spot on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you don't feel anything, 10 is sharp and painful. You're looking for a 4, 5, 6 level of engagement. And from here, you're just letting gravity do what it needs to do. I suggest, from a perspective of yoga, that you do this for at least 2 minutes a day. At least. All right. Over time, the consistency of the practice is what's going to bring the biggest fruit to you. But over time, the hips will open up and you will find new alignment in the spine, and the lower back is going to love you. It's going to love you. All right. And then look for pleasant sensations, any opportunities for the body to relax, feel at ease, space, go from tight to light, or find any opportunity where the mind is just still and you find yourself to be present, here, now, content. Everything's okay, at peace. Okay. And then let's go ahead and come and shake that out. You can just sit straight on your mat and then just a little tapotment. See this will allowing the legs to just act like that. Okay, there you go. And then we'll come back to seat and we'll finish balancing out the nervous system. All right, so we're going to finish stimulating the cranial nerves. Ooh, what is that? Oh, yeah. Okay. Something on my computer glitched. Oh, my. I've had some unfortunate technical issues throughout this stint, so I apologize. All right. So let's go ahead and give yourself a hug. Right arm over left. And just to have your eyeballs to the top of your head, okay? Big breath in through the nostril, looking straight up, and exhale through pursed lips. Still looking up, big breath in through the nostril, looking up, and exhale through pursed lips. And then switch it up, left arm over right, eyeballs to the top, big breath in through the nostril. This is alpha stimulation, alpha brainwave. And breathing in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. And then switch it up again, left arm over right. This time, you're going to just keep your nose nice and straight and stimulating the cranial nerves. You're going to look your eyeballs to the left, big breath in through the nostril, looking left. And then exhale, looking right, out through pursed lips. Your eyeballs just move over to the right, and then your eyeballs to the left. Big breath in through the nostril. And then exhale, looking right. Breath in through the nostril, looking left. And then let it go, looking right. And then switch it up. Again, left arm over right. This time, again, your eyeballs to the top of your head. Big breath in through the nostril. And then on the exhale, look down. Your eyeballs look down. Breath on the inhale, looking up. And then looking down, and then just shake it out. And then a little snap attack. You just give it in your peripheral vision. You just give it a little snap, linking up left and right hemisphere of the brain, stimulating the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and the pineal gland. A little tap, a little snap look to the left, snapping to the right, looking to the left, looking to the right, a little tap, and then thumbs on the temple, and just a little massage on the forehead, bringing that blood into the prefrontal lobe. Curious, open, allowing, and loving. Curious, open, allowing, and loving. And then a little tap up the one arm and a tap up the other arm, linking the central and peripheral nervous systems. You touch the left shoulder with the right knee, right shoulder with the left knee. Criss, cross, apple, sauce. Criss, cross, apple, sauce. And then the bones of the face. You want to tap the bones of the face about a half a dozen times, looking for pleasant sensations along the jaw and the collarbone and the thymus, and then the hands on the kidneys, rubbing the kidneys. These are your adrenal glands. And then tapping the forehead right over the top of the head to about C6. All right, we're coming in the last 60 seconds. Shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck, broaden through your collarbone. Setting your intention throughout the day. This is where you make choice. All right. Notice your relaxed attentiveness. Being aware. Know you're aware. Breathing in through the nostril and out through the nostril will keep the heart rate down. No pausing in the breath cycle. With each breath a little smoother and longer. Will keep you oxygenated. Keep the heart rate down. And then blood flow flowing into the prefrontal lobe, the neocortex. That's where your choice is. That's where your happiness is. Curious, open, allowing, and loving. Always find the sweet spot in everything you do, that 4, 5, 6 level of engagement, where you're engaged yet relaxed. And then throughout the day, look for opportunities for the body to be relaxed. Here, now, content, at peace. Notice when the mind relaxes, you're in peace. Your natural self, Satchitananda. I want to thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me today, from one veteran to another, and all those that care for us, love us, and support us. Have an amazing day. Be safe. Be curious. Be open. Be loving. Namaste.